We are very excited to welcome everyone. So as you know, we are here for Raptivity, Bring Your Imagination Alive Part 2. We had a fantastic kickoff session a few weeks ago, and we are very excited to welcome everyone. So as you know, we are here for Raptivity, Bring Your Imagination Alive Part 2. We had a fantastic kickoff session a few weeks ago, and in a few weeks following this, we will have the wrap-up. So this is our centerpiece of our Imagination Alive webinar series. So we want to again thank everyone so much for joining us, and just a few housekeeping things as we get going. Everyone will be muted during this session, so please do use your question box in your GoToWebinar panel. We have a fantastic Raptivity team that's there ready to take your questions, reply to your comments, and so on. And we have a lot to show. It's going to be a very visual 30 minutes, so we are really excited about today and about our session. So, just quickly to introduce myself, those of you who have never been to one of our webinars, my name is Jamaica, and I am really excited to be leading today's showcase of templates. So hopefully you'll see some fresh ideas and get some renewed creativity for your use of Raptivity. So what we'll do today is we will work with 4 templates, and what we're going to do, well actually let me tell you a little more about our webinar. I apologize. So those of you that attended the first part, you'll know that this is all about getting fresh and creative ideas with Raptivity. So what we'll do is we're going to take a few templates. Today we have 4, and we're going to start out with the traditional sample that you may be familiar with. And then we are going to look at some interesting ways of using them, or maybe some. We are very excited to welcome everyone. So as you know, we are here for Raptivity, Bring Your Imagination Alive Part 2. We had a fantastic kickoff session a few weeks ago, and in a few weeks following this, we will have the wrap-up. So this is our centerpiece of our Imagination Alive webinar series. So we want to again thank everyone so much for joining us, and just a few housekeeping things as we get going. Everyone will be muted during this session, so please do use your question box in your GoToWebinar panel. We have a fantastic Raptivity team that's there ready to take your questions, reply to your comments, and so on. And we have a lot to show. It's going to be a very visual 30 minutes, so we are really excited about today and about our session. So, just quickly to introduce myself, those of you who have never been to one of our webinars, my name is Jamaica, and I am really excited to be leading today's showcase of templates. So hopefully you'll see some fresh ideas and get some renewed creativity for your use of Raptivity. So what we'll do today is we will work with 4 templates, and what we're going to do, well actually let me tell you a little more about our webinar. I apologize. So those of you that attended the first part, you'll know that this is all about getting fresh and creative ideas with Raptivity. So what we'll do is we're going to take a few templates. Today we have 4, and we're going to start out with the traditional sample that you may be familiar with, and then we are going to look at some interesting ways of using them, or maybe some ways you haven't thought of before. So hopefully at the end of it, you will have some creative ideas and some creative takeaways, and maybe some innovative ways of using some templates that you hadn't thought of before. So that is our goal for today. And the templates that we're going to be using today, we have our pyramid interaction, ladder step interaction. We'll be using the flowchart presentation with audio, and all 3 of those samples are from our Raptivity Essential Pack. And we'll also be looking at the process activity template, and that is from our active learning pack. So those are the 4 that we'll be spending a bit of time with today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The first one we're going to look at is our pyramid, again from our Essential Pack. And the way that this is designed, it's to display a foundation-based relationship. So you can see that here from our pyramid. We have different levels of the pyramid. Different information can appear about each level. You can also have an audio file attached. So it's a way of comparing relationships in a visual way. Now, how else could we use this if we didn't maybe want it to be so text heavy? What alternative things could we do, or how could we make it look? Well, here we have an example that is kind of a reverse of that first sample we saw. It's much more visual. So you can see here in the levels we have images with just a very brief description. So less text, and then our description boxes are also more succinct and to the point. And this particular pyramid is just a regular one-sided pyramid here with nice crisp images. Now, what if you do have more information, or what if you want to compare processes? What can we do? Well, let's take a look at another sample. So this one is looking at different motivational theory of needs. We see our main title here up at the top. And in this particular example, you'll notice again, looks similar. We have our different levels or layers. We also have the description box appearing. But what's fantastic about the pyramid here is that we actually can choose to have rotating pyramid, and you can choose to have 3 or 4 sides. So you're able to compare and contrast different theories, different processes. And so this really sets this pyramid apart from some other pyramid templates that are out there because of this rotating capability. Some other ones just only have one side and they're limited with the number of characters you can use. But in this particular one, we can see here we have 3 sides, and each side has a different number of levels. So each side can be very unique to fit the information that you're sharing or comparing. So again, just an interesting way of using the pyramid, and again, kind of what sets it apart from some other pyramid templates that might be out there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next template. We are going to look here at a ladder step interaction. And the ladder steps, just as you might imagine, are showing something in a step-by-step format. So here we're looking at different levels. We're looking at a process here. So just as you might imagine a ladder step interaction to be. Now, how else could we use this? Well, let's take a look. So here you'll notice that there are steps appearing as in before, but what we've done with this particular one is it's less text heavy. There's not actually the description boxes. What we've done here is you can attach audio files for the description. We just can't hear it in this session, but in the sample we'll make available after, you definitely will be able to hear that. So again, showing less text and using other senses. So in this case, we're going to be listening to the description. So another way of using the ladder step. Now, what about if you want to share something that's not exactly step by step, but you want to take something and look at it piece by piece? And what I mean by that is, in this particular sample, you'll notice our title is Abbreviations Have Never Been So Interesting. So what we've done is we've taken an abbreviation or an acronym and we've broken it down step by step and provided information about what each step means. So we can see here we have our letters here that make up our abbreviation. As we look at each one, we're getting that additional information and the description of it. So showing that the ladder steps can be used for more than just a process. You can see here an interesting way of just breaking down a word or a definition of something. All right, let's move on to our next interaction. And this one is a flow chart. And as we're looking at it here, you'll notice it's running through each step in the flow chart, and that there's a description being automatically launched on the right-hand side of the screen. And so in this particular sample, it looks like I would imagine most of you would think of if you were asked to describe a flow chart. We see that there's arrows, we see a process. It's literally just flowing through the process, following the arrows down. So I would say this is a pretty traditional use of a flow chart. But what else could we use this for? This functionality of the template. Well, we have a few ideas for you. Here we're doing, instead of a regular flowchart process, we're actually looking at an image here, and we're looking at the different demographic segmentation. So here we're actually animating a diagram, not so much going through steps in a process, but actually taking a closer look at our diagram here. And again, you can look at any particular area in more detail, and that description box will come to life and provide more details. And again, that audio feature is there, so you can have some sound files playing as well to enhance what the learner is seeing. And you could use this approach also with any kind of an image. You could have a world map and have different countries come to life. You could have just about any type of a diagram and piece by piece have it come to life and share more details that you want. Now how about, we looked at a diagram, now how about a chart? Using that same interaction. So here we're looking at a product feedback survey. Survey. This particular one are people's responses to a particular refrigerator. So we have the different levels here: customer service, installation, price, ease of use. We have a legend here at the bottom describing what the colors mean. But how about if you want more details about each one? Well, you can simply click or hover over each of the areas, and then we have our description box appear in the lower right corner, and it's going to provide more details. So again, this flowchart doesn't need to be limited to an actual flow process or a process diagram. You can use this functionality in a few different ways. So we've seen it with the chart as well as the diagram. Now how else could we use it? All right, so here we're going to take a look at that same flowchart template, looking at a diagram. So this one is kind of like a bell curve. So here we're looking at technology adoption and the different steps or the different people that might be involved in that. So again, you can see it looks very different from that first template where we had our content in boxes and being connected through arrows. Here we have a curve that's showing who's adopting, and again, more details can appear in the right in that description box. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next template. And this one is the process activity interaction, and it's from the Active Learning Pack in Raptivity. And just as the name suggests, it's showing a process in a visual way. You saw there it was built up, and you can choose any of the sections, and you can have some on-demand information about them. Here we have them connected by arrows, so you can see we go from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on. So that's the starting off template with the process activity template. What else could we use it for though? How else could we implement it? Well, here's an idea. How about using it as a hub and spokes interaction? Now, those of you that are familiar with Raptivity, you are probably aware that we do have a hub and spoke interaction. So you might be wondering why you might choose process activity to depict this instead of the other template. Well, that's because this has a little out-of-the-box thinking. With the hub and spoke interaction in Raptivity, the connectors that we have, where here they're arrows, in that interaction, they actually look like spokes on a bicycle tire. So you are limited in that way. But here, you can actually connect them with arrows. So again, what some people might look at as a limitation, not liking how it looks in the hub and spokes interaction, just by using a different template, we can create a different look and feel and connect our hub and spokes with a different visually looking connector. So here we have competitive rivalry. Again, you can click, get additional information, and then you can take a look at any of these other parts and see how they connect. So we know with hub and spokes, all four things that are connected all have something in common with the center piece. So again, just sharing that while it may look like a hub and spoke, you actually have more flexibility and variety, building it through the process activity template. So let's look at another interesting way of using this process activity. So here we're going to look at a process represented by pictures. So as it's appearing here, you may recognize the steps in the yoga posture of the sun salutation. And you'll notice here that the process is described just only in images, and there's not actually the arrows connecting it. And what's fantastic here is that you can click on any of the postures, and when you get your expanded view, you'll see an enlarged image and then some specific information. So this is fantastic since these pictures are a little small, and this could be a complicated process for someone who's not familiar with it. We can see the enlarged view as well as the descriptive text. So again, in a corporate setting, you might be describing a process or looking at a piece of machinery piece by piece, or a process, and you can have your thumbnail images and then have them expanded and have additional information, as well as a sound file. So you can really use all of the learner's senses there to really sound down what you're getting across to them. So let's take a look here at another process activity. And we are going to look at it here in the form of labeling. And maybe you've never really thought about using the process activity to label a diagram, but hopefully this idea might give you some, or this image might give you some ideas here on how to do that. So here we are labeling parts of a flower, and you saw that, saw there that all of those labels came in place. You saw them all appearing there in a particular time frame. And you can click on any of them again, and this one again is nice because you can get a larger view of the area of the image along with specific information about it. So maybe we wouldn't really think about using a labeling exercise with this process activity, but again, just showing a little thinking outside of the box that it really can be done well. I would imagine, the parts of the flower, a blown up diagram isn't what we'd usually think of, but by making use of this interaction, it really, again, just thinking outside of the box, being a little creative, seeing that blown up image of it. So again, we can use it there for labeling and description. So that was the process activity interaction. Now, I know that that was a quick run through, but as I said earlier, it's just a very visual webinar. We just wanted to give some creative ideas, maybe expand your thinking on some of the templates that you've been using, or give you some creative ideas for ones that you haven't yet been using. So what's next? We have our wrap-up, our Part 3, Raptivity, Bring Your Imagination Alive, and it's going to be on July 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, and this is going to be a fantastic session. We are so privileged to have Dr. Ann Jackson join us for that webinar. She comes with almost 25 years of experience, and currently she's very highly regarded and in demand in education consulting. So she is going to speak to us about Raptivity, some things that we've talked about in the past sessions. She's also going to share some of her own Raptivity samples and some of her own Raptivity experiences. So I would say that is not a session to be missed. She's very dynamic and fun and has some great things to share. So also, when we have our Part 3 webinar series, we have more excitement. We are going to have our contest. And what we are asking for, it's the most creative use of Raptivity contest. So we are asking all of you to send us your Raptivity interactions that you've created. And whether it be a thinking outside of the box, using a template in a non-traditional way, we want to see that. or maybe you've used a template and the way you've customized it, the features that you've used, look so different from the starting off template. We would love to see that. And what we'll do is we are having a contest. The best ones will be shortlisted, and they'll actually be shown during the webinar. And during the live session, we're going to actually have the audience vote on their favorites or which ones they think are the most out of the box thinking. And we are going to be giving away prizes at that time also. So we have a few samples, but we would love to see more. We know that there's some creative thinking going on out there, some very innovative ways of using the templates. So we are excited to continue to see your entries come in. The best way to send them is to info@raptivity.com, or if you have any questions about the contest, please send them there also. So we are excited to see those entries continue to come in. And also, we want to make sure that everyone is aware of the new group that's been formed on LinkedIn, and it's the E-Learning Interactivity Hub. And this is beyond just Raptivity Network. We're bringing together all kinds of e-learning professionals, and this group is all about all things interactive e-learning. So it's a fantastic place to connect with really great people in the e-learning world, instructional designers, all kinds of professionals. So it's just everything e-learning. So it's E-Learning Interactivity Hub. So if you haven't yet joined that group, we are excited to see that happen soon. We'd love to see everyone there and talk to everyone, hear about what everyone's doing. And that is our last announcement for the morning. So now what we'll do is I'll take a look at the question box and see what kind of questions you've been sending in our comments. And again, just thank everyone for their attention this morning, and hope that it's kind of sparked some creative ideas and given you some fresh outlook on some of the Raptivity templates. The ones we showed today, some of them are our tried and true and some of our original templates, so give you some ideas on how to maybe use them differently than you have been. So hopefully it helped jumpstart that creative thinking for you. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to look through the question box, and those of you that have been sending in questions, thank you. And those of you that still might have some, feel free to send them in now. Okay, there's a question about images being changed. Let me just read. Oh, yes. Oh, so good question. So I think it's about some of the customization capabilities. So on the squares that we showed on the sun salutation example, those images can definitely be changed. That's one of the main features of Raptivity, is it's the functionality of the template that remains consistent, but the backgrounds, the color, the images, everything you see can be changed. And hopefully you kind of got the flavor of that in some of those samples we were showing by using the same template multiple ways. You can see really how different you can make each template look, and the customization can be done. So you definitely can change the images. Oh, another good question. So in Raptivity, we have 180 templates in the entire Raptivity library, and all of those templates can be published to Flash, and 110 of those templates can also be published to HTML5. So if your end learner or end user is going to be viewing the interactions on an iPad or a device that doesn't read Flash, there's 110 different templates to choose from. So good question about the HTML5. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, this session is recorded, so if any of you want to take a look at it later on or share it with some colleagues or refer back to it, we'll definitely make that available as well. So good question about the recording. And also we will make the samples that we shared today available, and you'll be able to view and hear them with sound and with all the features enabled that maybe weren't fully seen or heard on the webinar today. And also it looks like we just sent out where everyone can get some more information there or download a free trial of Raptivity if you haven't tried it out yet. That link should have just been sent across to you in the chat box. And so again, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, you want to share those samples with us, best way to do it is at info@raptivity.com. You can email us there. Also, raptivity.com, our website, has all kinds of information that will help you out. And when you do download that trial, what you can do is you can participate in our contest, even if you don't have a licensed version of Raptivity. So download that free trial, the link that was just sent to you, and it's a fully functioning license of Raptivity. It's just the trial version. So what you can do is you can customize and create some templates so you can still participate in our contest even if you don't have a fully licensed version. You can download the trial, pick a template you'd like to work with, and you'll still be eligible to win prizes. So that way everyone can participate and share their creative thinking. Okay, just looking through the questions here. I think we may have gotten them all, and if we didn't, we'll certainly follow up individually if we missed your question. Oh, I see a question here about if Raptivity works in PowerPoint, and it certainly does. All of the samples that you saw today were created in Raptivity and were dropped into the PowerPoint. So as I was going through the presentation, the samples were live and working. So that's how I was able to share that with you. So you could definitely do the same thing. Create your interaction, drop it into your PowerPoint presentation, and then it will run. And anyone can run the presentation. They don't have to have a licensed copy of Raptivity. They just can run the presentation and those interactions will work. So another great question, thank you. And I know we're winding down here to our end of our half-hour mark, so as we look for the last questions there, again, just want to thank everyone for your continued support of Raptivity and your interest in these webinars. We're excited to share our creative out-of-the-box thinking with everyone, so that's why we're also very happy and excited to see your contest entries come in, because we've shared with you some of our thinking, so we're really excited to see what some of you are doing. So we just want to thank everyone for the support of Raptivity that way. Oh, another question about the part 1 in the series. The recording, yes, it was recorded and it is available. So we'll make sure that anyone who didn't get a copy of it, a link to part 1 definitely gets that. So we'll make all of our webinar series available. We'll make all of the samples available so you can have it all as a resource later or to share with colleagues. So we'll just take a look here for any last-minute questions that we may have overlooked. But again, just thank everyone so much for your continued support of Raptivity and for your interest in our webinar series, and we are very excited to see your creative thinking. We shared some of ours with you, so in return, we're happy to see what all of you guys are doing with Raptivity and how you're using it. Oh, and a fantastic link was just shared with everyone as well, some more information about using Raptivity in a PowerPoint and how that can be made interactive. So that resource or that link there that was just sent out is a fantastic reference. Oh, another great question about integrating Raptivity with other tools. The question is about can Raptivity be used with existing course creation systems, LCMS, and so on? And the answer is absolutely. Once you've created something in Raptivity, once you've created your interaction, you can embed it so many places. You can embed it in course authoring tools, learning management systems, LCMSs, live collaboration systems. So there is many places that you can add Raptivity to your training, to your courses, to your PowerPoints. It's, well, I can't say limitless, but practically limitless where you can include Raptivity. So again, a great question there about the integration. I got a comment that the link we sent might not be working, so I apologize for that. We'll make sure that everyone has the correct link. I think maybe it's the link to the PowerPoint interactions there, so we'll make sure that that link is updated and corrected, so I apologize for that. So we'll make sure to get the correct one to you. So again, I'll just take another look here through the question box, but I think that we've touched on everything. So again, thank you everyone for your attention. We appreciate it. I hope it's been a action-packed 30 minutes and you're going away with some creative ideas. And we are very excited to see everyone next month when we have Dr. Ann Jackson with us. That's going to be a fantastic session. So thanks everyone. We look forward to your contest entries. And we'll see you in July. Thank you.